The next item tonight is the Let's Move Cities and Towns. It will be presented by Gary Riedner.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Let's Move Cities and Towns initiative is an initiative that has been advanced by First Lady Michelle Obama. The Let's Move Cities and Towns is a participation in the Healthier America initiative, and the intent is to reduce childhood obesity by pursuing healthy lifestyles. The Let's Move initiative is one that has been adopted or at least promoted by the National League of Cities. Mrs. Obama asked mayors and elected officials across the nation to assist in 4 pillars of the Let's Move initiative that are intended to reduce that childhood obesity, and I will cite those. The first is helping parents make healthy family choices. The second is creating healthy schools. The third, providing access to healthy and affordable food. And 4, promoting physical activity. As you can see, there are a couple of those initiatives or pillars, as it's said in the vernacular of the Let's Move initiative. Some of those regard school districts rather than the cities. As we've indicated to committees and in our own discussions, in certain states across America, mayors, in fact, and councils are in control of the school districts within their respective jurisdictions. That is not, of course, the case here in Idaho, where we have a separate governmental entity, School District 281. In that vein, because at least 2 of these initiatives regard schools and educational institutions, we asked Superintendent Dale Kleinert of the Moscow School District to meet with us and talk about the initiative itself. We met. He indicated that certainly Moscow School District has many healthy initiatives, from what they serve in their cafeteria to their recreational programs, recesses, educational, so on and so forth, and indicated that he would take the initiative to his school district board, and he felt that it would be warmly received. That will come hopefully within the next week or so. He indicated that when that happens, he will send a letter of support, which we will then attach to our application. The Let's Move initiative has a lot of relevance to Moscow. If you look at if you look in the packets, or if you reviewed the packets, there are lots of these things that the City of Moscow is doing already. And if you, as the mayor and I were discussing today, if you go back to our comprehensive plan, Chapter 1 Vision, you'll see that the council considered and the community considered in the comprehensive plan some of these very things that the Let's Move initiative promotes. And that is, I'll just note the vision statement in Chapter 1, provide for the safe access and use of the city's pedestrian facilities for users of all ages and abilities. One of the initiatives, or one of the recommended activities under the Let's Move Cities and Towns initiative, is to encourage walking paths, promote bicycle and pedestrian access in the design of streets, so on and so forth. Promote walking as a mode of transportation, enhance the physical and social health of the community. This is out of our comprehensive plan again. Increase the safety and convenience of cyclists of all ages and abilities, and encourage use of bicycles as a desirable mode of transportation within the community. And to assist local schools in providing efficient and safe student access and transportation to school facility locations within the community. Of course, as the council knows, one of our most successful grant programs over the last several years has been the Safe Routes to School programs. We have helped promote safe routes to schools, walkability, cycling to schools for several years, and it's been appreciated by the school district and certainly by the parents and children attending those schools. One of the other initiatives in our own comp plan, maximum availability and utilization of recreational programming. As the council knows, every year when we talk about budget, we do the goal setting process. one of the largest sections of our budget are the recreational programs that are offered through the Moscow Parks and Recreation Department. In addition, the Paradise Path Task Force, Moscow Parks and Rec, all work at developing pathways and additional recreational opportunities. If you go again in our comprehensive plan, talk about open space, recreational facilities, parks, the importance of recreation, whether it's passive or active use. Park areas, recreational facilities are an important part of everyday active living. Contribute to a healthy community life through provision of opportunities for sport and exercise. Provide facilities for athletic events and social festivities for local recreation needs. If you look in the suggested programs under the Let's Move, it talks about working with school officials to develop joint use agreements so that community residents can use school facilities for physical activities. We have a long-standing cooperative agreement with the Moscow School District. We have joint use of the play field at Joseph Street. We joint use Gormley Park. Our youth and adult league basketball utilizes school district facilities every winter. There are also facilities. The Hamilton Low Aquatic Center is sometimes used for school district recreation as well. Promoting safe routes to school, I've already commented on that. Incorporating pedestrian and bicycle lanes into safe street development or into street development. As the council knows, we have been working on an active living task force, and one of the initiatives by our Transportation Commission has been the Complete Streets program. The Complete Streets program is designed somewhat like this, or at least dovetails into the Let's Move Cities and Towns, in that it encourages and promotes bicycle pedestrian access, access to those with disabilities. The council has spent a lot of time talking about accessible sidewalks. We recently put in, I can't remember how many curb drops. I'd have to go back and recalculate how many there were, but we had a group in town for months replacing curb drops at corners to make it more accessible. Incorporate pedestrian bicycle lanes, promote spaces for community members to be active. I've already cited our comprehensive plan in that regard. Enhance public safety near parks and other public spaces has been something of recent discussion with the City Council. Develop a parks deserts map that indicates the distance from population centers to parks and green spaces. Although we seem to keep mispronouncing it to Park Deserts program, we've talked about the development of parks around the city, where we have spaces and what parks should be developed in order to give access to the maximum number of community members. Offer physically active intramural sports for students of all skill levels and make sure that it is free and affordable for all children. As I indicated in our budget, you know how many recreation programs are promoted by the Parks and Recreation Department, and the council has assisted and directed that we have a scholarship program so that no matter what your means to pay, our children in the city are able to participate in those programs. There are also the Let's Move Cities and Town initiative talks about affordable and healthy food. There are a couple of things that we've done in recent years that helps with that. Certainly we're trying to promote, from an economic development standpoint, the use of local produce in markets. One of the comments in the Let's Move: support the sale of local foods across the community by offering incentives and encouraging the establishment of farmers markets. As the council well knows, Moscow's Farmer Market, I think without fear of contradiction, is the premier farmers market in the state of Idaho, and there are many programs, including the senior nutrition, so on and so forth, the ability to use any food stamps for produce in the market. All are intended to allow greater accessibility or promote greater accessibility to those locally grown foods by those who perhaps may not be able to afford it otherwise. Promote policies that support and protect community gardens. As the council knows, we have a community garden that's going in at the Hamilton Rec Center facility. We've had a community garden next to City Hall for the last 2 years. Community gardens seem to be something that the community is very interested in. Amy Gray and her Backyard Harvest program has been embraced by the community, and it's a way to get some of that local produce into the hands of those who might not otherwise get it. So it's a way for people to grow healthy food in an urban environment. So with that, the next question, and one that the council requested of staff, is what is the cost of this program? What will it take for us to participate? When we first we reported to the council that we'd attended a webinar, and it seemed when the program was in its initial infant stages that the program director expected that there would be significant promotion of the 4 pillars of the initiative every year, and they focused on the word significant. Since that time, I know the mayor has discussed this with the National League of Cities when she was there in Denver. We have gone so far as to talk to AIC, NLC, that would be National League of Cities and Association of Idaho Cities, as well as the Let's Move initiative program itself. What they expect is that if a city desires to be a Let's Move city or town, that you embrace the initiative, that you promote healthy lifestyles, and that you will do things that promote that. They aren't asking for big programs. They aren't asking for a lot of money. They're asking for, in fact, what we have discussed with Superintendent Dale Kleinert, and that is cooperative and collaborative programs. So it seems at this point that the only thing that's being asked of us is to promote the 4 pillars. We've named ample programs, as Dale Kleinert did in my office, of programs that Moscow School District can list right now as supporting this initiative, and that we are expected to do a first quarter and an end-of-the-year report reporting what has been done in our city. So the hope is that between our Complete Streets program, Active Living Task Force, perhaps this initiative, that as grant opportunities come up for the city to participate and perhaps obtain some grant funds, that we can list these as being promoting a sustainable lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, and hopefully will be able to get us additional funding in the future.
Thank you, Gary. Wayne?
So, Gary, are we going to need to have somebody on city staff to administer this program?
Well, I don't doubt, I can't say that we won't. No matter how small a program is, someone needs to administer it. If it is putting a report together, we've talked to Mr. Kleinert about providing information. If it's a matter of putting a report together and sending it in, it doesn't seem to me that that is a huge issue. If, in fact, we were correct in the first webinar, when it was in its beginning stages, that we would have to document, I guess, strides that are being made in the 4 pillars, and they were talking about significant programs, significant policy changes, those sorts of things, significant projects, then yes, I think that would be a burdensome thing to do. The way this is written, Wayne, I don't believe that it's going to be that big of an issue. We do a lot of this reporting anyway. So unless something is in here that I'm not recognizing, I don't think it'll be a significant issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, a couple of things in here that got my attention that kind of concerned me a little bit. On the second page of the Let's Move face sheet, second paragraph down, last sentence, once an elected official signs up as a prospective Let's Move city or Let's Move town, he or she will choose at least one significant action to take over the following 12 months in each of the 4 pillar areas.
If I may.
Go ahead.
And that was precisely what was focused on in that first seminar, the first webinar. That has been interpreted that is not intended to be anything that's going to cost money. What they want to see is what you are doing in promoting those healthy lifestyles. Now, the other piece of this, like with any contract, is what happens if you don't? What if it becomes burdensome? What is the city's alternative? Well, the city's alternative is to say, look, we didn't sign up for this. We promote a healthy lifestyle. We've shown you how we've done that. We aren't going to go through each of these because obviously there are two of them that we're going to have very little impact on. So is there a way to say, sorry, this isn't what we signed up for? And I think you can do that. There's no penalty for backing out of it if it isn't what you thought it was going to be.
Well, just as an example, under 4, make healthy food affordable. And I guess my question is, can you pick and choose what you're going to do here? Because, I mean, here's one, for instance, says pass food policies that require food and beverages purchased with government funds to meet certain nutrition standards. Does that mean the soda machines go away?
No, these were, if I may, these were suggestions. These are things you could do. It doesn't, there's nothing saying that you have to do them all. And certainly, as I've said before, we cannot force the school district to provide healthy foods in their hot lunches. They have to do it themselves. So all we can do is ask.
Gary, just to follow up on something you said, I did, in fact, speak with people through the National League of Cities, but presentations at the Denver meeting this fall were from people representing Health and Human Services, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, which is the originating agency, which then sent this to Idaho Health and Welfare, which then had a competitive thing. That's our active living task force, but it's very akin to so many of the other things we're already doing. And I think, just as Gary said, we have reports to write all of the time anyway. The objective of that group was simply to, get people focusing on the good work and not to make this an onerous process at all. Tom?
I like the opportunity for the city to demonstrate leadership on these issues of active living, of healthy lifestyles, and that's why I'm going to support this. I see it in a similar tone to the Tree City USA declaration, where we're being able to demonstrate what we're doing already along those value lines. And in this particular case, you've already pointed out the many areas where the city of Moscow is already moving forward in these areas, and so by joining in and being part of this, I feel like we're able to provide some leadership for others in the city. We've received 4 emails from city residents today encouraging us to do this. There was Mary Dupree, Helen Brown, Larry Klott, and Odette Engen, who encouraged us to sign up and be part of this. So I, again, forwarded those emails on to the city clerk.
Walter?
Thank you, ma'am. Again, reading from the material, it says it's an initiative to reverse the nation's childhood obesity epidemic within a generation. Cities and towns agree to take simple steps to promote healthy eating and physical activity, and encourages municipal officials to adopt a long-term, sustainable, and holistic approach to childhood obesity. I don't think that's our job. That's a parent's job. We've hopefully fixed potholes. It's getting harder with these cold and warm phases we're having this winter, but it's to make sure that the public buildings are heated, the snow plows, the dump trucks, the graders are working, the police department's on the street, the fire department's at the ready. Those are the things that cities do. I have some childhood obesity issues within my own family, but that's their parents' problem, not mine, because that's not my place. I don't think I have a place telling Ms. Jones that lives out here on Elm Street that her children need to eat better because they're fat. I just really don't want to go there, not as a city council member. As Gary says, we do things in 3 of the 4 initiatives. I'm excluding the one that's all about the schools because I hope we don't do those. The schools may do them. But we do 5 of 16 things in number 3, increasing physical activity, and we do, as best I can tell on a quick look, we do 2 of 9 things on to make healthy food affordable and accessible. And I would recommend we mail the White House or whoever this is a letter saying, hi, thank you very much, we already do the following things, and good luck with your program. I will make a motion that we do not recommend approval of the Join Let's Move initiative and Partnership for a Healthier America.
Seconded.
We have Walter's motion, Wayne's second. Discussion. Sue?
Gary, you mentioned that something about getting, this would make us look better when applying for grants, and all I see you get from this is the intergovernmental affairs representatives highlight and celebrate your initiatives. You get to be on the Let's Move website. The mayors get to go to conference calls and share ideas, discuss barriers, and celebrate progress. You get a certificate, and mayors get to attend events to celebrate collective success in combating childhood obesity. I see that you get a gold star, and you got to do a lot of reporting for that. And I don't see any funding. I don't see any. I just see